who could be the TCU of 2023. And I wonder if this team is thrown out there. I think they're getting some. By the way, Mark, have you already released your early preseason top 20, top 25, or whatever the case might be?
I
Or is
have
that
not,
on
and
the
I need
docket?
to. Yeah, I got to get that out there. Absolutely. We'll do that.
Not trying to, just curious, Mark. I was asking that question more from
I got a
curiosity.
little derailed after the season, and it's probably a little too late to do some of the things that I'd like to do, but I still want to release a 1 through 131 from 2022, even though everybody's mindset is toward 23. But yeah, the way too early top 25. Yes. I do not want to fall in line with, as you know me rather well, I do not want to fall in line with everyone else. Do my own research, come up with my own list, and present it with my take. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll put your own little spin on it, Mark. So that'll be good.
Yes.
All right. So let's get to the team. And this is a team that's getting a lot of preseason top 10 love. And to me, this could maybe mean a little bit of a change in the ACC. How about Florida State, Mark? What do you think?
Yeah, they were the first team that I mentioned. Jordan Travis just had an article released where he was interviewed by Pro Football Focus and clearly stated that they are gunning for a national championship this year. Wow. They have 7 starters on offense. They've got 9 starters on defense. They had a couple key NFL draft decisions go their way, and Jared Verse and Fabian Lovett, 2 defensive linemen. Jaheim Bell's a great pickup at the tight end position from South Carolina. And not a lot of people knew about Fentrell Cypress, but he was the highest or second highest rated cornerback in the transfer portal out of Virginia. They picked him up. I'm trying to interpret what they were able to accomplish late in the season, David, because it was impressive from the standpoint of them winning game after game after game after game, 6 consecutive wins. However, who's the best team they beat? Florida, Oklahoma,
LSU to start the season, Mark.
Well, I'm okay.
You're talking later in the year
to start the season. I was going by that 6-game stretch. They went to 4-3, and then they ran off 6 straight. Yeah, LSU was clearly the best team that they played.
Although that was fluky, Mark, though, a little bit. You know what I mean, at the end, and although they kind of controlled that game, right? If I'm not mistaken, didn't
they? Florida State outplayed them statistically, but almost gave it up at the end. They lost to Wake, NC State, Clemson, back to back to back. All 3 of those games, they were in the game and could have won, but they were outplayed. Like, they didn't blow a game. The NC State game they did to a certain extent. So anyway, they came out of all of that with that LSU clearly being their best win of the season from an opponent standpoint. From a dominant standpoint, they had a lot better performances. But looking at how Clemson played going down the stretch and the way things are trending there, that seems to be just as much of the reason why we elevate Florida State possibly. Is more about Clemson than Florida State.
Well, I would further that, Mark, just with the gettability of the conference, just where the ACC is at, as we've talked about on numerous occasions. By the way, Mark, I haven't taken a look at schedule. What do they look like in non-conference? Do they have to? They don't have to do a back-to-back with LSU, do they? Or is that was just a okay? But so they'll get them to come to Tallahassee.
2 neutral sites. So since they played in New Orleans, they're playing in Orlando.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I guess let's keep it in Florida. Let's keep it in Louisiana rather than do it, I guess, in Tallahassee in Baton Rouge, I guess. But
and they've got Florida again. So 2 difficult non-conference games.
Yeah, I still think Florida is, what are we thinking, a couple of years away. Bill Napier's, it's going to take some time. But I mean, could Mike Norvell finally be the right guy for that job too? It's, they've been looking for the right guy in the post Fisher era.
I'm impressed with Mike Norvell. I'm just impressed with the way he's running the program. I believe that he took over a much more difficult situation than Willie Taggart because he had to follow Willie Taggart.
Right.
Willie Taggart, sure, had to take on some issues that Jimbo Fisher
That's right.
left kind of a messy situation behind, but he also left a pretty talented roster. Willie Taggart did not leave nearly the talent on the roster for Mike Norvell. We get into this conversation with our FSU guys,
Right.
and I point that out all the time because one guy in particular is quite adamant that Willie Taggart got shafted and the Mike Norvell got more time than Willie Taggart. Well, he inherited a worse football team too.
Yeah.
And now things are working out.